Awesome. I think we're live. Let me know if you can hear and see me and everything. Um, okay. So put your questions in the chat if you have any. Um, I'm here to answer. So whatever you have questions about, I'm here for. Oh, hey, Jason. How are you liking it here? Looks like you're having a good time, but you did it. You got here. Everything's everything looks good. Awesome. It's awesome. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Um, yeah. Sprint to the start line. Yes, that's a really good way to put it. Um, it's 1,000 tiny things, that you have to do, and it's very overwhelming. And I do recommend everyone if you're going to move, even not just to Uruguay, but anywhere, watch the video I made on the emotional journey, because I think sometimes people are so caught up in the this paperwork, this document, this thing, do this, get the dog, da da da, all of the things that we forget that once you figure out all of that, then you have to deal with what happens inside. So it's hard. Okay. Okay, so Edna asks, can you talk about the option to ship things tariff free? I know you didn't do it, but I would like to understand the pros and cons. So you can ship a container here. My understanding is that it has to arrive within 6 months of when you arrive to be tariff free. So the pros and cons would be, obviously the pros are having all of your stuff. That's really lovely. And anytime I visit someone who did ship their stuff down, I'm always like, oh, your house is so nice. Oh my God, I love it. Because it's them and it's all their stuff. And, you know, we're rebuilding, right? So our house is, not that right now. So the pro is you have your stuff, right? And especially if you have specialty things, like I have a friend who brought her drum set. She's a drummer. Um, some of those things would be really hard to get here. So the pro is that you have your stuff. The con is, first of all, it's so expensive. So for our family, we had little kids, so all of our stuff was like hand me downs and Facebook Marketplace stuff that my kids had already drawn all over. So it's like we didn't even have anything worth shipping. Like we had our stuff that we liked because it was ours, but it wasn't worth the amount of money it would have cost to ship it here. The other downside, the other con is if it arrives outside of that 6-month window, um, it is so horrible. It is so horrible for you. And I know this because I had some friends that this happened to, and it was not their fault. It was the shipping company. Um, I, I don't know if they lost their container or something happened. It got delayed, and it arrived outside of that 6-month window. And they had to, not only did they have to pay the tariffs, which were about $30,000 on a container of their stuff, but the aduana and they had to catalog every single item that was in the container. So that took a year. So they shipped a container, and they waited for a year. Well, they waited the first 6 months, but then more, a year to get their stuff, and then they had to pay to get their stuff. So it was like a really big hassle for them. That being said, I know other people who shipped a container and it went fine. So I think it kind of depends. Like you have to know the company is going to get it there within the 6-month window. You have to know that it's going to cost a lot of money. Um, it's all a calculation, right? And for my family, I was like, I just don't want to stress about that. I'll just, you know, I'm sorry. We have the trees that are releasing the Pelusa de Plátano that I talked about in the air quality video. So I'm kind of coughing, and you could probably hear my throat is a little bit raw. Um, anyway, you kind of have to make that value judgment. Like, would I love to have like my grandma's depression glass case that, her case of depression glass that I had in my house in the US? Yes, I would. Am I willing to go through the hassle and the cost of shipping here? No, I'm not. So it is what it is. Okay. Utilities. So Jason asked, can you talk about getting utilities turned on? So um you can do it online. You can set up, especially UTE, that's the electric company. You can do it online, but you will have to call someone. Danielle will probably help you with that because Danielle's saint and I love him and he's the best. Um, I would ask him for help with setting that up because I'm certain that Danielle would help you. But yeah, you can set up an online account like our electric bill. It's an email. It's just like the US, right? Like it's email. I can pay it online. Boom. Untel or like internet service is a little bit more complicated. The best thing to do is to go to the mall. That's where like the Untel physical locations are. I would go to Untel in the mall and maybe just say like, does any like who has the best English, or try to fumble through it. Our realtor before Danielle was here in Uruguay, we use a local realtor, and she helped us get this apartment, and she took me to get Untel set up at this apartment. So I think that you should. I mean, that's what realtors do. I was one in the US. Like, they should help you. And I'm certain Danielle will help you, Jason. And I should mention, okay, good. This is early in the live. I should have started with this. I put a list of service providers on my website, English speaking service providers. So you can download that. And I mean, it's constantly growing because anytime I need anything or somebody in our group needs something and we find someone who speaks English and does it well, we add them to the list. So, um, just so you know, like Danielle is the realtor who's on that list. It's not a realtor, it's real estate agent, blah, blah, blah. But he's on there because, he's a good guy. Okay. Um, Will finding a medical mutualista be difficult for a 68-year-old who's in good health? So, what you will have to do, because over 60 years old, most mutualistas are going to make you pay like an upfront joining fee. It's a one-time fee though, like it's not yearly or anything like that. So, I would plan to pay about $5,000 to join. But then once you join, it's just the monthly fee. And the monthly fee is like, I don't know, somewhere 80 to $100 a month. And then the thing about healthcare here is that like there's no copay for the primary care physician, and even like specialists and medical tests and scans and blood tests basically free. I mean, I got an X-ray for $4. To me, that's free coming from the US. So if you're 68, you can definitely get into a mutualista. There might be some who won't let you in, but there are definitely some. I would look at Española. Again, on my website, the list of service providers, there is a doctor and she speaks English and she will do a consultation with you to help you choose which mutualista will be best for you. And then she can also tell you like if your medications or therapies or whatever are available here. So she is amazing. We love her so much in this group that I'm in. Okay, Jason says his container costs $10,500 to ship from Virginia. That's good. Excellent. The tricky part, um, yeah. So Jason's in the chat, like talking about all of the steps to get the container. I would say, I would have your immigration person on my website. That list has two that I recommend that speak who speak English really well, and they will help you. Jason's talking about the certificates you have to get and all of the process, um, and they will help you through that. Um, yeah, Jason, it's like a whole thing. I even had friends who moved here and then decided they didn't want to live here, and they moved to Argentina, and they still went through the whole residency process to get their to not have to pay the tariffs on their container. So it is complicated. Like um just know like you kind of have to weigh. There's a lot of steps and it's expensive, so you kind of have to say, okay, well, is it worth it or not? Um yes, Jason, there is a back door to getting a mutualista. Um I kind of don't talk about it because I kind of think it's I don't know, it's ethically gray. So I I mean, I think that we want the healthcare system here to be good and we want it to continue to be good. And if people move here and take advantage of things, then it might not be great anymore. So yeah, it's I mean the basic process is like if you have a business here. For example, I work here. I have a job here as a teacher, and so I didn't have to my I just signed up and I automatically get into the Mutualisa and I don't pay anything for it. It's taxed in my paycheck basically. And so some people make a business and create a business to show an income and then use that to get their healthcare. I'm not going to recommend that you do that because I think that it's the upfront joining fee is for a purpose because they don't want people to come and take advantage of the cheap healthcare and then leave. You know what I mean? So um anyway, it's ethically gray. Yeah, Jason's typing it in the chat right now. You start a company, pay into medical. Yeah. So that is a way to do it. I mean, you can do what you think is right. Okay. Any other questions? So we've talked about the shipping container, talked about medical care. Um, yeah, Jason, I get it. No, if you don't have another choice, like I said, it's very ethically gray for me. So I don't really like publish. I'm not gonna make a video teaching people how to do it. But it exists, and it is there. So, and it's not easy either, because if you start a business, then you're paying into the taxes. And I think if it's a situation where you pay the joining fee and then you get health care, it probably in the long run is better to just pay the fee, because all of the money that you'll spend trying to do the business thing will, oh, sorry, I hit my microphone, will eventually cost more than that, right? So, but if you have like a pre-existing condition, yeah. Okay, unfurnished. Okay, and ask unfurnished versus furnished apartments. So, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Uh, I'm sorry, but anyway, I'll talk about it now. Um, so it's rare to find furnished apartments. I think it's becoming more common, you know. But so I mean, because I know several people who have rented a furnished apartment, so it's not impossible to find. Um, the thing is that unfurnished here means like there's nothing. You have to buy a stove, a fridge, maybe air conditioners, everything. Like it's truly like very unfurnished. That's why like the apartment we live in is very small, and it's been difficult to like live in this small space, but it was furnished. And when we first got here, I was like, ugh, I don't care. I'll live in a small space because I'm not going to go out and buy beds and appliances and everything like that when I first moved here. So that was um that was rough. If you get a furnished apartment, it's going to be more expensive, but the cost, of buying all of that stuff brand new is probably going to be more. So, I mean, our apartment even came with pots, pans, silverware, plates. I like literally was like an Airbnb, but we've been living here for 2 years. So, um that's the best thing. And actually, we're buying a house. So, in maybe like 2 months, this apartment will be available. I already told my landlord, I'm like, You want me to find you someone to move in? Because probably somebody will be coming and we'll need a furnished apartment. So, reach out to me on my website if you're interested. It's a small apartment. Our family of four made it work. I would probably not suggest most families. I would suggest like a couple renting it is probably better. But anyway, if anybody is interested, just reach out through the website and I will, CassieTheEnglishTeacher.com, and I will connect you with my landlord because he's a great landlord. Like every time we've had a problem, he's fixed it like that. So we've had a great experience living here. It's just really small for a family of four. Okay. Oh, this is such a good question, Cheryl. What was your biggest adjustment in the early days of your move? And what is your continuing biggest adjustment? So, I think when we first arrived, the biggest adjustment, coming from the US, everything is super convenient. Everything is super convenient. You don't have to get off your couch. Like you can have everything delivered. Anything you can imagine, Amazon is going to deliver it the same day. Like it is just any food. We lived in San Antonio and Houston. It's like, oh, I could just have a craving. I want some Thai curry. And it would be on my table in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So the biggest adjustment I think is that Uruguay is not convenient. Nothing's convenient. They do have pedidos ya, which is like DoorDash kind of. And so, like when I hurt myself and I couldn't really walk, I did get groceries delivered. So things exist, but they aren't. it's not it's not at the level of the US in terms of convenience. It's not like Amazon level convenience. So, I think that was the biggest adjustment was even like doing laundry, there's no clothes dryers or they exist, but most people don't have them. So getting used to like line drying clothes for a family of 4 on our tiny balcony, that was a whole thing. Um, yeah, just like and not being able to Google things. I like if I want to find something, I have to go talk to someone. I have to go look around for it. Anyway, it's the convenience factor that is so different at first. As we lived here, I came to really appreciate the lack of convenience because it means, yeah, I can't necessarily Google where to find something, but that means I have to go talk to someone. And so now I've talked to someone and I'm making friends and I have a community and it's actually better, I think, for you. I mean, I just think on a just mental health level, it's better for you, but it it, it takes some adjustment when you first get here. The continuing biggest adjustment is probably my husband and I both work here. He works for a company here. I work for a company here. Um, I think the biggest adjustment is just that we don't earn very much compared to what we earned in the US for the same jobs. You know what I mean? And so here, like we just barely make it. Like we are very much like month to month um, with our salaries and like what we have to spend to get by. So the biggest like ongoing adjustment is probably that because in the US we always had like the same jobs paid way 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 more and we were big savers so we always have like a lot of savings. So the adjustment here is like getting used to like okay I'm not earning as much and I am I'm able to make it but kind of just barely um but healthcare for us is free. It's part of our taxes and our jobs. Like there's a lot of things that I'm like, okay, well, a healthcare crisis wouldn't like bankrupt us. So I don't know. You give some, you get some, but yeah, Jason says unfurnished apartments even sometimes don't have water heaters. It's true. Like it's I think if you find a furnished apartment, take it because in my opinion, like all of the stuff you'll have to do to furnish your apartment, it's so much money. And if you're new here, it's just nice to not have to deal with that. Leslie asked, how much is your rent for the furnished apartment in Montevideo? Our rent is about $1,000 a month. I have on my video like how to rent a place in Montevideo. I have the breakdown of it, how much it costs per month, how much it costs to get into the apartment, all of the fees, everything we had to pay up front. That video is a good one to watch because I just use the real numbers from our situation. So, um, yes, Jason says the hardest thing right now is figuring out where to buy stuff you need. Um, I still don't know where to buy an umbrella. Jason, okay, umbrellas are everywhere. Go to Paprika, El Clon, Tata, Tienda Inglesa. Any of those places will have an umbrella. I promise you. Um, yeah. But yeah, I had the same. Oh my gosh. When we first arrived, my daughter's like really into yo yoing and she could do all these crazy yo yo tricks. I don't know. And her string broke and we had like just arrived and she didn't have the extra strings. We didn't really think that through. And so I was like, okay, let me go buy you another string. I spent like hours walking around the mall, going to all these places, asking around. And then I'm like on my way home, defeated because I did not find string. And I was complaining to my friend that owns like a little corner store. And I was like, I just looked all day and I could not find show string. And she just like from under the counter, she's like, this? And I was like, I just wasted 3 hours of my life when I could have just come to you and been like, where do I buy yo-yo string? So Jason, just uh go to anywhere and ask anyone and they'll help you. I promise. Like just say, where do I buy an umbrella? And they'll ask you. Um I mean, sorry, they'll ask you. They'll answer you. Devoto, probably not, Jason. I would say again, El Clone. Paprika and El Clone both always have they always come through for me in a pinch. So one of those, or maybe Tata or Tienda Inglesa. Devoto, if it's like the big fresh market store, they'll have an umbrella, but not like a regular neighborhood Devoto. Leslie asks, are the trees that produce the banana fuzz all over the country? I'm trying to figure out what cities I'll be able to breathe. So they're not all over the country. And like my one of my co-teachers, she's listening to my voice for the last few weeks, and I'm like, I'm dying from this. She's like, come to Ciudad de La Costa because we don't have those trees. You'll be great. So maybe in like Carrasco and in Piriapolis, that area. They're really common in the city because they are really good for shade during the summer and not providing any shade during the winter, and they're beautiful trees. It's just like this 3-week period that it's terrible. So you just have to, and people will literally wear like masks and goggles to go around. So you can, the thing is that it like when you're inside, it doesn't bother you. Like it's not the same as like, for example, in I'm from Texas, cedar. Cedar is my greatest enemy in life. I was miserable in Texas in January every year because of the freaking cedar. If you're in your house, the banana fuzz can't get you. Like it's that it's particulate matter floating through the air. So kind of people just okay, in this 3-week period, I just always have to wear a mask or something. So Pediapolis is a beautiful town. I absolutely love it. If we did not work in Montevideo, we would probably think about moving there. One of my best friends lives out there and she loves it. She has a beautiful home and it's a really lovely place. And she lives there without a car. Like you can definitely walk all over Pediapolis in not that much time. So you can definitely yeah, it's a really great little city if you kind of want to be that in between land of I'm close enough to Montevideo that I can take an hour and a half bus ride in to get things done. Um, and then Pediapolis also has like bigger grocery stores and like a clinic and a health clinic and things like that. So it's a really, really beautiful place. It has like these hills that meet the beach that really remind me of Sorrento and why did I roll my R for Italian? But Sorrento in Italy, really beautiful coast. Yeah, they. So Leslie says, I looked up the trees when I saw your air quality video, and they're in London too. They're really common in cities. Like they're a good city tree. It's just they have this miserable condition for this short window of time. So I I try not to hate on them because I also do love living like in a city that's full of green, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to, if you're going to have greenery, you're going to have some allergens. So. Jason asked, have you given thought to how you will get home insurance? No, Jason. I can't even think about that because just doing the purchase itself is like so much documentation and paperwork that is I'm like I can't I have to do one thing at a time or I get overwhelmed. So I'm like, okay, I've got to I had to get something apostilled and that's like that has been a whole thing. So that's coming down and I have to get other documentations for the bank. And I'm just like, okay, once I get that done, I'll look at the insurance because I really don't even want to think about it right now. Don't ruin my Sunday night, Jason, by reminding me that I have important things I need to do. Okay. Yeah, I want the insurance guy. I'll look at her video. Karen's a friend of mine, so I'll ask her for that guy's number. Yes, if you so I mean it's just you know anytime you transfer money internationally, there's a lot of paperwork to be done. It I was laughing with Danielle, my realtor, because I had to sign like some paper that was like, this money is not from drugs. And I'm like, me? Me? Yes, I'm a drug lord. Like, no. Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork that you have to do. So, um, Edna, so she asked, do you have to get documents from the US? I'm sure that every case is different and it depends on how you're paying for the house and da da da. In our situation with everything the way we're structuring it, we had to get a lot of documentation. And it's really annoying, but um I'm just like, I have money, give me house. Let's just do this. But there's 50,000 things in the way. The nice thing is that like the person selling us the house is beautiful and wonderful and like we've just really been getting along. So hopefully everything is nice. Um Yes, Jason, you know what? I should make like a little short about that because that is one of the things about moving abroad is there's just so many things to do. It's just a never-ending list, and it's not like any one thing is so hard to do. It's just the amount of things are overwhelming, and sometimes you just wanna be like, "I'm tired of doing the things. Can I just not do things?" I would just wanna not do things. I wanna be just wanna be here and be done with this process. So and I will say we're 2 years in and we're still doing all of these things. So it is ongoing, but this is life. And, you know, I always console myself with when I was in the US, I worked with refugees and immigrants to get US citizenship and like to get themselves settled in the US. And that is 1,000 times harder than the process to get here. Everything about moving to the US is way harder. So I'm kind of always like, okay, I can't really cry that much because it's way harder to move to other countries. So oh, good. Adriana says I'm Uruguayan. Home insurance isn't a thing here. Um, it's not expensive. My mom has it because she travels alone, or she lives alone and travels sometimes. Yeah, I kind of like vaguely remember seeing posts about how, in the US you have home insurance for like fire, flood, all of these things that can happen. Um, the buildings here are concrete. There aren't like hurricanes or earthquakes or anything here. So like a lot of the risk factors that you have in the US just really don't happen here. We don't have shingled roofs, so like you're not going to get a hailstorm that damages your roof. Like you don't need the home insurance as much. It's also probably a factor that here, most people don't have a mortgage. You just buy the house outright. And in the US, a lot of the home insurance industry is because you have a mortgage and the mortgage company makes you have insurance, right? So it's totally different here. You just buy the house cash and, you know, the insurance, as Ariana's talking about, is almost more like with theft than fire or flood or anything like that. So, and thank you. I hope it's not hard for you with the government shutdown. Um, we had to mail, uh, like one person had to mail something to another person, and that took like so much longer than it normally does. Like I'm talking about mailing something to a place that's like an hour away. And it took like 4 days. And I was like, why is it taking 4 days to go? Like normally it would be like the next day it would show up, right? And so I don't know if the post office is affected by the shutdown or what, but like for a document to get from one city to another city an hour away took 4 days. And I was like, that's crazy. That I don't know. That's um normally is not how it is. So that's the only thing that is kind of has happened with the government shutdown. Luckily, the apostille that I need is a state office, so the state governments are not shut down, so you can still get your apostilles. Here's my plug that I say probably every time I do one of these: to get your apostles as soon as possible. That's always like start doing that, because depending on where you need to get them from, you might have to mail something and get it back, and it might be weeks or months. So this is your sign to get an apostille document. They're not expensive; they just take a long time. So I would just say do that as soon as possible. Um, Everything else, I mean, I don't know. And do banks have safe deposit boxes? I don't know. I'm trying to think about the bank I went into, and I don't think I saw a room with safe deposit boxes, but maybe. I don't. That's a really good question. I don't know. I have to look it up. Let me write it down. Okay. Um Yeah, Jason says, I assume you're talking about proof of source of funds for the large wire. I have to do a pre-visit with Itaú. I like I've been emailing Itaú and I'm like, what do I need to provide? And the first person was like, oh, not nothing, it's fine. I'm like, it's not nothing. I know it's not nothing. Can you ask someone else? So it's been a whole thing with Itaú, but I'm hoping that I have it sorted. But now you're making me worried because I'm not going to Itaú. I'm just communicating by email. So now I'm kind of worried. I'm gonna make Danielle take me to Itaú and talk with them. Okay, Lisa asks, did you get a US FBI background check and report or state police background check for Uruguay immigration documents? So we did not do that before we left the US. As part of our immigration process, we went to Interpol here and did our fingerprints and everything and sent it off. So you don't, I mean, people do it before they come, and that's fine, but also you can do it from here. And that's what we did. And I also don't know how the government shutdown is affecting all of that. So maybe you want to do it sooner rather than later. Um, but I would definitely talk with your immigration person and see what they want you to do because, everything here, you don't have to like prove anything to be here, but you have to meet all of the like I misspoke. You don't have to like ask a judge to let you to be here. Ugh, I'm sorry, I cannot talk today. You don't have to ask a judge to let you be here. You just have to pass all of the requirements, right? It's just a checkbox system. So, but that does mean that, if it's not exactly what they want, you may have to start over. So, I would definitely ask your immigration person for help with all of the FBI background check and all of that. Oh yeah. See, so someone says we're waiting for criminal record apostilles. First ones were 3 weeks in April. This set it's been 6 weeks and we're still waiting. So yeah, it's. Uh, I'm sure the government shutdown is not helping with that at all. But um, thanks, Jason. um, Yeah, always talk with your immigration person and make sure that they are like you're cooperating with them, they're getting everything that you need. Um our situation was weird because we came in 2023 and we had never been here, so we kind of didn't even know if we were going to stay. So we did everything from here once we were already here. But I know that now that's different because people are leaving in a little bit more urgently. So if I were leaving now, I would definitely be coordinating all of that before I left. So, you know, Jason says that his apostles were about 3 weeks, but it was before the government shutdown. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I guess the best thing to know is that you can do it from here. So if it doesn't get to you in time and you have to fly down or whatever, then you just go here and do it with Interpol, and that's it. Edna asks how Uruguayans feel about the possible U.S. bailout of Argentina. I think that you have to like understand the history of Uruguay and Argentina to really understand this, but and I don't understand it well. I'm listening to my Uruguayan friends and I ask them because I'm always interested in government, politics, things like that. Um, but my feeling from the people I know and when I talk about what do you think of Malay or whatever, um, anytime I ask a Uruguayan, what do you think of a Malay? They're like, Argentina is always crazy. Like, kind of, like, yeah, no, that's Argentina goes like this. And it's a much bigger country. And there's like, especially if you if you're a young person wanting opportunity, you might want to go to Buenos Aires. But most Uruguayans are like, no, we're just doing our thing, stable, and they kind of go up and down and up and down, and we just are here. So I did have a a friend, the older sister of a friend of my son, who is 13. I asked her what she thought of Malay. And she's like, "Well, I hate that guy because he was talking bad about trans people and gay people and blah blah blah." She had a lot of opinions, but most Uruguayans are just like, "Nah." Argentina goes up, it goes down, and we just kind of stay here doing our thing. So, Jason asked, "What mailing service are you using to send a document here?" So yeah, I'm going to use DHL. And I'm actually, I had 2 copies of the document made, and my friend, I have them one of the best people that exists on this planet. Like, seriously, you will never meet a better person than this man. He's gonna go get it apostilled for me in Austin, and he's gonna get 2 copies apostilled and ship me one, and then also mail one to a friend who's coming later just in case the DHL gets lost. I'll be like, okay, well, that got lost, but I have someone physically bringing me the document in a few weeks. So, worst case scenario, like backup plan. I might be a little bit overkill, but I'm just, it's, I'm like this. Everything is going so smoothly, so something's about to get messed up. I can't trust it. I need to have backup plans. Um, yeah, Jose. Well, so Jose says the problem is everything has to be in Spanish or you have to pay translation fees. So I even asked, I was like, can this document, can I just have it apostilled in Spanish already? Can I just have this document done in Spanish? And they were like, no. So you have to pay translation fees either way. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, when you're buying a house and all of the money you're already spending, it's not that much. Um, but yeah, you always have translation fees for every document. And yeah, it is what it is. It was really interesting because we signed the offer to buy the house, and we signed it at the house around the kitchen table, and the escribana had to, that's like the like a title company person basically in the US. She had to read the entire contract out loud, and then they had a translated version into English, and our realtor Danielle had to read it in English to us. And I was like, we understood the Spanish, we don't need it. And he's like, legally, because you're from the US, I must read you this in English. It was, I mean, in that situation, we were all kind of laughing um, and teasing because the sellers also speak English. So we were all kind of like, this is ridiculous. But they had to read it in both languages so that everybody is fully aware of what's happening. It's kind of interesting. Anyway. Yeah, Jason, the vulnerability is like, you just never, it, it was really hard for me, like buying this house, or this whole process has been really hard because I was a realtor in the US. In the US, I bought and sold so many houses, and we flipped houses, and it was nothing in the US to buy a house for me. Like, I knew the whole process, boom, boom, boom. And here it just, I'm like, I don't know the process. I don't understand what's happening. Um, that felt really terrifying. And Jason, you'll know this because you apparently know Danielle too. But that's what I love Danielle. That's why I always recommend him, because he does actually explain everything, every single piece that's happening really well. You know what I mean? So yeah. it's but yeah, you still feel vulnerable. Like I had to when I transferred like the earnest money deposit down, I had to talk to like I think 8 different people at my US bank to get them to release the money to transfer it down. And every single time they'd be like, "Have you ever been to Uruguay?" I'm like, "I've lived here 2 years." "Have you seen this house?" "Of course I have. Why would I be buying a house I didn't see?" They just so by the time I got through that day and like 3 hours of calls to transfer this 10% amount, I just was like, "What if I am" like, I totally psyched myself out. I was like, "What if it is a scam?" It's like the bank people really seem convinced it's a scam. So what if it is? Oh, no. Anyway, it's kind of terrifying, but it's being fine right now. It's everything's going fine right now. Edna asks, "Is it worth getting a virtual mailbox in the US? I've heard you say just plan on never receiving mail." Yes. So we used iPostal to get like a mailbox. Just, I don't know. There's some things that we still get mail in the US, mostly like our life insurance policies and things like that. So we do have that mailbox. I It's been 2 years. I've had a good experience with them. I mean, it's not super expensive and they'll scan a picture of the envelope and then you can tell them to like trash it, shred it, or open it. And you have to pay for them to open it and scan it in. And you kind of know like based on the envelope if it's something you need to open or if it's junk mail, you can just have them throw it away. So um, yeah. Oh, Adriana's responding to Edna's question about Argentina. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to like we just feel sorry for the Argentinians. Like it's yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So um mm. Okay, Jason. So USAA does not care if you wire a bunch of money. That's great. I have so many friends who work at USAA. I'm from San Antonio, so um oh, that's cool to know, Jason. I didn't know that you could have through the US I'm assuming US Postal Service you can pay for 2 years of scanned copies. That's cool. Okay, it's almost 8 o'clock. So I am gonna end at 8 because I am really hungry, actually. So I want to be able to eat soon. So get your question in the next couple of minutes if you want me to answer it. That's cool, Jason. I didn't even know we changed our address to the iPostal thing, but maybe that's a new thing. I don't know. Um, Lisa asked for those keeping US citizenship and retired benefits, how do you keep a US address? I mean, for us, honestly, like we have the iPostal account, and that is like it looks like a business address. So that works for almost everything. Anything it doesn't work for, I mean, we kept the house we lived in the US and we are renting it out, and I just put that address because most people don't I mean, most things don't actually mail you anything. They just want to see that you have a house there. And so I'm like, well, our name is on the tax records and everything for this house. So I don't have retirement benefits yet. I feel old enough to have retirement benefits, but I am not. I'm really achy the last couple days because we had a really terrible storm system come in. And also, I stayed out dancing really late last night. And so this morning, I was like, ooh, the knees are not as nice as they were in the early 2000s when we used to dance all night. Now my knees are like, why did you do this to us? No, it wasn't tango. We have some friends from India. So it was like a mixture of Latino and Indian music. And anyway, fun times. Fun, fun, fun times. We had too much fun. But um, yeah, Jason is saying you can legally collect Social Security outside of the US. And that's definitely true. A lot of people here do that. So I haven't done it, but if you look on the expat group, there's a few expat groups. The one that I like is it's like Uruguay expat community or something like that. Um, Eddie does a really good job of kind of moderating it and keeping political things and everything shut down. So there's some other ones that get really, really negative and horrible. So if you look on there, though, a lot like he even has Social Security from the US, so he talks about how to do it. So definitely look at that. On Facebook, sorry, Lisa, it's a Facebook group. I That's true, Jason. Eddie is a grumpy old man, so he will limit you if he doesn't like you. But he does. The group provides a lot of good information, so it's kind of one of those like, ugh. And Facebook's terrible, but it is. It is where these groups are. You know what I mean? Um, well, Jason, what I would say is, um, I always recommend people just search the group because every question has already been asked, and it's better to search the group. So if you search that group for Social Security, I promise you somebody has made a post about it and people have responded. So it's there's Facebook, just by virtue of being Facebook, the groups are terrible. I mean, people just act a fool, online. But it's like Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube, they are not great for like back and forth dialogue. And Facebook's like the one place that you can really like ask a question, get a response, go back and forth. So that's kind of where the expat groups, which I don't even like the word expat, but that's what they're called. That's where they are. So there's one group that's like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I would say please don't do that. Don't go into that group because they're so negative. Um, Substack, I can't. Yes, I'll look into it when when the school year ends and I don't have to teach full time. I will look into all kind of things, but right now I'm kind of like, okay, I can't find new things, but Substack does seem to be a nice avenue. Maybe that would be. I have a friend who's a technical writer, and she was like, "I can make your videos into, written form if you want." So maybe I'll start a Substack and do that. I don't know. I'm not promising anything. Lisa, why are you trying to get me trying to get me to add more things to my life? I'm just joking, but okay. Um, it's 8 o'clock. There's no more questions, so I'm gonna end it now. Um, my next week, the video I'm gonna post is going to be about how to plan a scouting trip here. So if you are interested in doing a scouting trip, hopefully that will help. A lot of people have asked about it, so that's the next video. I already filmed it, so it's coming out a week from now, and hopefully it will help. Okay. And all of that being said, ciao, ciao. I'll see you next time.